We are now just about 1 week away from Election Day. Of course, tomorrow being the 1 week mark, it's the final push to get the message out about one of the most talked about issues on the Kentucky ballot. You'll be seeing it's Amendment number 2. We've got team coverage of the yes and the no vote for you tonight. Amendment 2 asks that if you're in favor of the General Assembly providing financial support to students outside of public schools, that means funding private schools and vouchers with tax dollars. Tonight, both supporters and opponents of the amendment were out sharing their message, and we were there with both of them. That included a Yes on 2 rally in Bowling Green, Kentucky. But first, we want to start here in Louisville with WHS 1119's Alex Dieterer, who went door to door with volunteers who are against. They're voting no on Amendment 2. Alex?
Right, Doug, and like you said, even though we're 8 days away from the election, volunteers with Louisville Group Showing Up for Racial Justice are not letting up their efforts to push back on Amendment 2. Now, they say this amendment could cut funding for public education if passed.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm with Showing Up for Racial Justice. I'm a volunteer.
A group of Louisville volunteers, part of Voting No on Amendment 2, Protect Our Schools campaign.
41 and 42.
Going door to door, knocking on doors in the Camp Taylor neighborhood, urging registered voters to vote no on Amendment 2.
Public monies should be used for public schools, and public schools are so core to growing equity in our society.
Pat Allison was a JCPS teacher for 43 years.
I want to protect those schools and to keep them running and to be able to serve the students the best that they can.
She's against Amendment 2, saying protecting public funding means this.
It means having enough books. It means having enough teachers.
Teachers like Melissa Zipper.
Hi, sir.
Who wants to do her part, talking face-to-face with voters about Amendment 2.
Thoughts on that?
I'm voting no on that.
Okay, awesome. Can I ask you why you're voting no?
Because they're taking money from the public schools. It's just not right.
Okay, as a public school teacher, I can't say I disagree with that.
And with a week until Election Day,
And then you three will work together.
Showing Up for Racial Justice continues to spread the word on Amendment 2 to neighbors, parents, and even future students.
See you in school in a few years, right? Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Now, as we just saw with opponents of Amendment 2, and we'll just see in a few minutes of advocates for Amendment 2, both sides of the issue right here in Kentucky are continuing to make their last-ditch efforts informing voters on Amendment 2 with just days until the election. Live in studio, Alex Dieterer, the WHS 1119 team on your side.
Alex, thank you. Happening in Bowling Green tonight, U.S. Senator Rand Paul was highlighting a rally in support of Amendment 2. When we were there, WHS 1119's Alexandra Goldberg has his message and why he's encouraging people to vote yes on 2.
Yes on 2! A room chanting in unison, and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul throwing up 2s with voters.
I think that educational freedom, educational choice is the civil rights of our era, and we ought to do something about it today.
Nearly a week out from Election Day, supporters of Amendment 2, that's for funding private schools and vouchers with public money, rallied in Bowling Green. One of Paul's messages centered on school achievement, which he says won't improve for low-income students with status quo policies.
Because you just leave them in the same place, in the same violence, and the same drugs, and all of that. And these kids can achieve. When they get out, they achieve on par with everybody else.
Super PAC Americans for Prosperity, financed by the billionaire Koch brothers, hosted Monday's event in Bowling Green.
Are we ready once, finally, and for all time to give every kid in Kentucky educational freedom?
One attendee coming in from Tennessee. He's not casting a ballot in Kentucky, but Walter Blanks Jr. says he works trying to convince states like Kentucky to back the funding change.
And I always say, look, either Kentucky is ahead of the curve from the rest of the country, or they're severely behind. And when you have 48 states, including D.C., that have programs, they're really falling behind.
Another attendee, an educator at Western Kentucky University, says in his teaching career, he's seen financial inequity firsthand.
It's families who don't have those kinds of means who are often stuck with whatever the public schools are offering.
One of the major questions tonight was, what is the benefit of Amendment 2 for rural counties? Senator Paul and his wife say those students won't be left behind. behind.
So let's say you live in a town of 5,000 people and there is no private school and there is no other choice, but your child has autism. So even the public school doesn't have someone designated for autism. You can actually hire someone and use that money that could be part of a voucher program for your child who has autism.
The ballot initiative racking up millions in campaign dollars. Now, Paul driving home the Yes on 2 message with 1 week until voters make their choice. In Bowling Green, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 1119, on your side.